do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. This is episode 46 of the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. What's goody? How everybody doing out there? Appreciate you guys joining me back here for another episode of Talk Pro Wrestling. You dig, man? It's Friday. How everybody doing out there? Hope everybody is enjoying their day, man. And hope everybody's about to enjoy their weekend. But you know what? Before we get to that, man, it's Talk Pro Wrestling. I appreciate everybody who's joining me. Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners all across the world. You dig, man? In Canada, Germany, the UK, all over the states, man. DC, Queens, New York, man. All over that, man. It's going to be great, man. I appreciate everybody joining me. If you're watching on YouTube, you guys, man, y'all already know what it is. Hit that subscribe button. Smash the notification bell. Like it. Leave a comment. Yes, leave a comment so I can know you're there. I shout you out and all that good stuff. And also, don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a review. But you guys, man, it's going to be a great show here today, man, on Talk Pro Wrestling, man. Back at it with another dope one. This week, man, I'm not riding solo. I got a dope guest this week, man. He's coming from Queens, New York, you guys. He's a in-training pro wrestler, you guys, right now. He's a podcaster. He's the host of the Jobber Tears podcast, man. He got a whole crew, man, a whole mob right now that I'm loving, that, you know, black people get to connect and, you know, talk wrestling and do their thing, man. So I'm loving it. My man, Sir Wilkins, man, from Queens, he's going to be joining me here on the 1130 podcast. Yes, that's about to be fun, man. We ain't about to waste no time. Sir Wilkins, man, what's going on?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me finally. I know we had some schedule issues in the beginning. I had to be a boyfriend and I couldn't do it.
Hey, it's all cool, man. It's all cool, you know.
Nah, but I appreciate you having me on. It's a real honor. Thank you for having me on today, man.
No problem, man. Thank you for, you know, having the time to join me on the podcast, man. Like I was chatting with you just before, man. Like, you know, you the man. You know, you doing your thing, and I see you, you know, on social media and, you know, with the whole Jobber Tears network and the podcast, man. I love it, man. I really, really love it. But how's life treating you right now?
Life is treating me pretty good. You know, I got no real complaints. Family is relatively healthy. You know, I'm just trying to make it through the day, you know, just trying to one step at a time with everything, you know, just trying to make it, brother.
Okay, yeah, man. You're trying to make it. Been a crazy, you know, whole 4 years, especially in this pandemic. So, you know, you're trying to make it though. For my viewers and listeners, you know, who's not familiar with you, but I know a lot of people are here watching, man, for you. But you mind introducing yourself a little bit, you know?
First things first, my name is Sir Wilkins, like Dre has mentioned. I am 1/3 of the Jobber Tears podcast. I am also one of the heads of the Jobber Tears podcast network. So it's a network of different podcasts that you can all catch on underneath the Jobber Tears network streaming platform. So you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, all over. We're all over there. I am a massive wrestling fan. I love the game so much that my thumbs bruise. Lil Wayne track. I am currently training in the wrestling business. I'm trained by Amazing Red. I have a long way to go, but I am humbled and I feel really blessed to be able to be on this podcast with you, man.
Hey, man, I'm blessed to sit here chatting with you. You know, you're in training, you're doing your thing. I just wish nothing but the best, man. A couple of months back, I had a guy from, you know, he's in the Jobber Tears, you know, network with you guys, Stan Michaels. You know, I heard you guys, you know, being, you know, going one-on-one and sometimes though, but it's very entertaining. He's in training also, so man, it's really, really cool.
Stan's amazing.
Yeah, can you tell me about the Jobber Tears network? How you guys, you know, it's a community. How you guys, you know, come about and, you know, join together?
So honestly speaking, I was working on another podcast before, and we had creative differences. And it went left, and you know, we decided to split. It was me and Janelle on that podcast, and we weren't no longer on it. But I still wanted to continue doing it. I felt like we had something, and I wanted to do it better. So I got my brother involved, and instantly we got together. I remember my brother was pissy drunk at the night of this, but we were on my birthday party, and I was like, yo, there's something here. And most of the time, them two don't even like really pay attention to when I say things like that. They're like, whatever. So we kept building. Then we have friends who were like, yo, I'm interested in doing a podcast. I don't know where to start. And they were New York based too. So I was like, yo, how about we just join forces? You come underneath the umbrella, you do your thing, and we help you out. One hand washes the other, and we just build on this network and try to see where we're at. And we continue building. Some shows we're on for a while. They didn't last. Things change, but now I feel like we're at a good place. And over the 3 years, we've done close to 250,000 streams as a network. So it started off as 3 friends coming together, and it's now a bunch of friends just all wanting a place to showcase their talent and be heard. That's basically what the network is. And we associate ourselves with a couple of dope people as well, which is an example. You talked about Stan Michaels of Talk of Champions. We work close with them as well, but it's all about unity within the Black wrestling community and just the podcast community in general. Just, taking care of each other, friendly competition, but at the end of the day, supporting each other. If that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes very sense, man. Congratulations on that, man. I seen that post, man. You guys are doing big. When you said you love wrestling as a young kid, man, growing up, did you see other kids, liking wrestling as the same, as Black?
During the Attitude Era, yes. Like middle school when they're like elementary school, during that whole Attitude Era. I think I just aged myself. Damn. But during that, you saw that. But obviously, everybody, slowly grows out of certain things. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it grow when I got older. And until I started doing the viewing parties back in 2012.
Okay.
So to speak on it, I think I'm getting better at telling the story now. Thank you. Giving me practice. So about 9 years ago, I was actually 10 years ago. 9 years ago was the first one, but 10 years ago was when we started developing it. I was a club promoter, per se. I was a nightclub club promoter, and I wasn't a top guy. I was more of a mid-card guy. But I was good on the mid-card. I was doing my thing, I was getting my people in, meeting a couple of chicks, doing my thing, And my best friend who passes away, God bless his soul, me and him were like a partners. We did a couple of things together. We did parties together. And he had asked one of the owners, could Wilkins and I intern? So this is called Top Tier Hospitality. They're still around. They own a sports bar, a hookah lounge, and a nightclub. Mm-hmm. So their sports bar was brand new. And at the time I'm interning with them, everything is going right. They had just opened up the sports bar. I walked in and they had SummerSlam on. No, was this SummerSlam? No, Survivor Series on the TVs in there. And I go, why isn't this place packed? Like, what the fuck? Why isn't this place packed with people? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this doesn't make no sense. And for some reason, it stuck with me. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I hop on the train. This is when Survivor Series was at MSG. I'm getting on the train. So anybody that's not familiar with New York, the train I took was right by Madison Square Garden. So I'm going uptown. So I got to take the train by Madison Square Garden. So a ton of people from Madison Square Garden wearing belts, wearing wrestling T-shirts. They're all coming from the Survivor Series show, and they're getting on the train. And I'm on the train. I'm looking at everybody, and I'm just like, yo, there's something here, and I can't put my finger on it. It boggled my mind. It truly boggled my mind of why there wasn't people there. So I get home, and I'm still thinking about it. So I decided to Google, like, WWE pay-per-view viewing parties. Mm-hmm. I think I found like one, but it was like from years, it was like SummerSlam or WrestleMania. I was like, why isn't there others? So I go on this website called meetup.com. I don't know if you remember that. And this is before Facebook groups was a thing. Meetup.com was the original Facebook group.
Okay.
So basically, Meetup.com was different groups of people who share an interest, like petting, a pet's interest or like what. And I found a wrestling group called New York City Wrestling Fans. And I hit them up and I was like, yo, would you guys be interested in coming to a pay-per-view viewing party and like coming down and stuff and doing something? They're like, yeah, we'll be totally interested. So I go to the owners, and I will always thank these owners for helping me grow my love for wrestling and be on a business standpoint. I go to the owners and I was like, yo, hey, I got this idea for WWE viewing party. And they're like, what? Wrestling? I said, yeah. And I'm super excited. I'm like, yeah. They're like, people still watch wrestling? So, and they go, how, like, explain it to me. I was like, there's Super Bowl parties. We'll do the same thing, but we'll just have wrestling on the TV.
Exactly.
He was like, and I will always thank Dave and Phil. They sat down, met with me. I brought in because I wanted to prove a point. It was like I had a presentation I had to put up, basically.
Hey, that's what's up.
With the New York City Wrestling Fan Club. I sat them down and then we all talked. They're like, all right, let's just do it. And it's basically, what do we have to lose? Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, Wilkins, you know how to promote parties. Just use whatever you learn from promoting parties to do the same thing. So I went hard with promotion online. This is early internet, like pre-social media days.
Okay.
I'm an old dude. I'm getting old. Get up there. So promote it. And we do the first one in 2012 Royal Rumble. And it's fucking packed. We did 200 people the first day.
Oh, wow.
First time we did 200 people. And to go back to your question, the reason why I bring this up is because I saw so many Black faces in there who were wrestling fans. Mm. And since then, we've grown the party. We have small ones, we have really big ones. Like the last WrestleMania, we were able to do a viewing party. We did 400 people. And we had the likes of Tessa Blanchard, because WrestleMania was in town. So we had a bunch of wrestlers just come by and just chill, who were independent guys who weren't signed at the time, just come by. Like Shad, Rest His Soul, Gaspar was in the building, JTG. It's Al Snow was there. Like, it was a beautiful thing, but it's crazy because that was the last one we did before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
that's the energy right there that I like right there, man. That's really dope, man. Because growing up, man, I had to. It was hard finding, other people, that watch wrestling with, because people was like, just how you said, like my cousin to come by and like one of his buddies he had with, and like this happened twice, and I laughed inside because he was like, oh wow, I didn't know wrestling still come on. And I was like, wow, and of course, like you said, people fall out of it. We have life and stuff like that, man. But yo, that's what's up. That's what's up. I had like viewing parties, especially like WrestleMania, because of course, you got the Super Bowl parties. Why not WrestleMania? So, and of course it didn't really last though, because the times, but I would love to have that, man. And that's really dope. How you guys come up with the name? Did you guys more like mid-carders, or did you guys like jobbers, or what?
So interesting story on that. So after me and Janelle split from the former podcast, I called my brother and I called my camera guy at the time. I was like, we got to sit down and have a meeting about this new podcast, but we got to come up with a name. So we sat down and we're like, we're gonna come up with names. And you'd be surprised all the good names we're taking. Gorilla position, headshots, chair shots, like everything was just take, because we're Googling. And we went on Wikipedia to like find like all wrestling terms. Mm-hmm. So then we were like, we kind of collectively was like, Janelle mentioned it. She was like, what about like a cup of tears or something? And I was like, that might be able to work. And then we're like, jobbers? And I was like, yo, jobbers are very important to wrestling. And then it came, and then we were like, none of us are superstars. We're low-key jobbers. None of us are up there. And we're going to be complaining about wrestling on this podcast. So jobber tears. And that's how the name came up. And then if you look at the logo closely, it's a cup with tears pouring out.
That's very unique, man. That's very unique, especially, like I said, man, podcasting, also looking for other wrestling podcasters. And when I came across you, like you said, we had differences, in the beginning for our schedule, but I was like, man, I gotta, get him on or try to be on his podcast because it's really dope, man. I really, really like it. What's one of your first memories of wrestling?
One of my first memories of wrestling, honestly, is Saturday night wrestling on WWE, watching it with my dad. Those was one of my early memories of wrestling, and ironically, Hogan and Thunder in Paradise TV show.
Okay.
Those are one of my earlier memories of wrestling, and one of my favorite wrestlers from like the new generation era, those earlier days, is Razor Ramon.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I'm a 90s baby, so I came into wrestling about the Attitude Era. So like I tell everybody, man, The Rock is like an all-time favorite, man. All-time favorite.
The Rock is definitely my all-time. Like, I will argue, my girlfriend is a huge Stone Cold fan, and I'll be like, nah, it's The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's Stone Cold week though, but man, it's The Rock though. And you say you're a big Rock fan, man. Valentine's Day 2011, man, when he returned back and he was going to be the host of WrestleMania that year, man. I wish I had a tape of recording or something, man. I literally broke down crying because I wish that it was him so bad. And of course, he stayed away for so long though. But yeah, The Rock, man, all-time favorite, man. You in training? Because we're talking about wrestling, man. How's that going?
Training is going great. It's my biggest thing is my consistency because I got such a busy schedule, but I've been making it a priority. Like I told you, my trainer's Amazing Red, and he's literally the godfather of modern day wrestling. He's super hard on us, but it's what we need. He's teaching us the right way to go about wrestling, but also the right way to go about the business and the politics that goes on in wrestling. And he's been so awesome of teaching us what not to do and how to make, when we step out into the real world of the professional wrestling world, that we have our best foot forward. So it's been amazing. It's been such a great learning experience. It's kind of low-key my therapy. When I'm having like a rough day, I'm like, I hit the place. And then the place I train at is called House of Glory. And it's on another level. Like, we literally have a performance center for where I train at. We have 4 rings in our school. Not many people can say that.
That's what's up, man. Hey, that's really, really dope. You doing your thing in wrestling. What keeps you pushing at it though? Like, what got you wanted to start it besides your passion for loving wrestling?
I want to understand it from a different point of view, and I wanted to, like, doing the podcast is great, but I also want to understand what these men and women go through, and truly understand what is wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's basically the number one thing. I always wanted to do it, but also I want a better understanding. And being in that ring, you get a better understanding of it, the psychology, the work that goes in, and certain things. Like the other day, today actually, there was a video going around of Luchasaurus and this other dude, and it was a botch that they had. I didn't see it as a botch. I just saw it as one of them didn't help out the other. That's what I saw, because botches happen, but you can instantly fix it by working together and helping. And the person, the vet of that match, should have covered it up right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like through a clothesline just to get it going.
Yeah.
But and training has helped me better understand it, and also be more empathetic towards wrestlers of what they go through. Mm-hmm. And and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. I think you shared it, or you guys' network shared it. At least I saw it over the past week where it was at an indie show and people were yelling out, racial slurs to like, black wrestler and stuff like that. Like a lot of people, just don't understand. Like, man, come on, like they are there, putting on a show for us, man, and enjoy it. Don't just be disrespectful. And also, like, I always wanted to know, someone else's point of view or reviews or something like that. But when was your aha moment when you realized, like, okay, these guys, going out there, they doing their thing. These guys don't naturally hate each other, but it's scripted and it's all written and stuff like that.
I never really had that moment, to be honest, but I think I got super grateful for wrestling during the pandemic. That was the only thing that was on TV that was new.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that was on TV and that was new. And you had men and women literally putting their lives on the line for a paycheck, but also to entertain us. And I was like, yo, it doesn't matter what company it is, who the wrestler is, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What you guys are doing is entertaining me. And then I think it was like I separated the reality from the kayfabe world, and I was like, yo, thank you. I may not like you as a wrestler, may not like your character, but fucking thank you.
Everyone has something to say, a story to tell. We make it easy to share yours. So let's talk.
Regardless of your podcast setup, hit record. And from there, whether your podcast reaches 10 people or 10 million, we can help you get heard wherever listeners are.
And who knows, maybe even quit your day job.
But no matter who hears you, it's about connecting and sharing something from your perspective.
It's about having a voice and using it without anything standing in your way. Say it all with Anchor.
Exactly. Because, man, especially at the beginning of last year, man, it was a lot of, crazy stuff going on in the world. And wrestling was like the only thing, especially for me, because the last show, besides the NXT show, but the last Raw was actually here in DC, so it was awkward to watch that week's Friday Night SmackDown with completely nobody. And then like that next week on Raw, it was Stone Cold week because everybody in the venue was just like, oh man, it's going to be Stone Cold week next week. And I don't know about you, but I always hated that every time I was at a show and they announced somebody that was going to be coming on maybe like next week and you're there and you be like, oh shit, man, like, come on, man, like, but then, and then like next week, of course, Stone Cold had to, do his thing in front of an empty arena though. But hey, man, that's that. But we're gonna move on here, you guys, on Talk Pro Wrestling, you guys. Speaking of wrestling, we got wrestling and rap beef right now. I gotta ask your thoughts on it, man, because the whole Bow Wow Soulja Boy thing, man, what's going on with it?
I said my thoughts and I got some heat for it, but I'll say it again. So when it comes to Bow Wow, honestly speaking, I'm all for it. If this is what you really want to do, this is what you're about, and this is something that you're going to try to really push forward and work hard towards. Now, if this is you just trying to get over, get a little promo run, get some attention, then fuck you. That's literally how I feel about that. Now, Soulja Boy, he just talking shit online. He's with Randy, so that didn't really bother me. But I got real passionate about it because my trainer broke his neck in this business and couldn't wrestle for a while. His leg, he had an opportunity to almost sign with WWE, and his leg was broken. He broke his leg. People put their lives and their bodies on the line. So don't come in and think this is going to be a walk in the park and not respect the business. You can be an outsider, come in and do your thing and help the business grow. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But don't come in thinking you're already better than everybody.
Exactly.
That's my only issue with it. And like I said, if it's something that he really wants to do, this is his passion, this is his dream, go ahead. I'm not going to deny you from achieving your dreams, but put a little respect, man. That's all I'm asking for.
You're right, man. You're right. Especially Soulja Boy. He just came out of the blue with it, man. Bow Wow, I was like, okay, you say this is his dream. I mean, let's see where it goes, man. But hey, it's crazy. I mean, like, I love the respect that Bad Bunny got for it. You know, hearing that, you know, he grew up loving it. And, you know, and also WWE band WWE. You know, of course, putting the 24/7 on them for Saturday Night Live and the Grammys, just to have, you know, representation up there. So hey, that's that, man. So I don't know. But we got WrestleMania coming up in a couple of weeks, man. What's your thoughts on it? We just this past Monday, we got the announcement it's going to be Bobby Lashley versus Drew. I don't know. I'm not too sure about it, but what's your thoughts on it?
It'll be a good match. I'm gonna rewatch their match that they did in TNA because it was for they had that match before, so I'll see what they do with that match. I'm all for it. I like Bobby. I like Drew, aka Drew. I think this is something. This will be a good match because it's two hard hitting dudes going at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about it. I'm not excited for WrestleMania really because the buildup has not been the greatest, to be honest. Wait for what they do with Sasha and Bayley and try to figure out what's the next move with that. But you know, I'm very like mid across the board when it comes to the pay-per-view.
Okay, I'd take this year's sort of build up rather than last year, though. Even though it was pretty weird, though. What's your thoughts on Roman Reigns and Edge?
Listen, the tribal chief is doing his thing. I like what Edge is doing. I like that. I think they're probably it's gonna be a triple threat, which is Daniel Bryan, Roman, and Edge in there, which is not a bad thing. It's at the end of the day, that's gonna be a good match.
Mm-hmm.
We can solidify those three men in the ring. It's going to be a good match. There's nothing to worry about when it comes to that. I'm about a good build-up.
Yeah.
I'm about getting me excited. I'm about the promotion. I'm about the promos leading up to it. You know, everything. Exactly. Let me get excited for it.
Exactly. You're right, man. With the Undertaker out now, who you think WWE? I mean, it's all about the future, and that's what WWE should look forward to is the future. But who you think would take that, you know, spot of the Undertaker? Because, you know, for the past 30-something WrestleManias, you know, or whatnot, you know, 20-something WrestleManias, you know, he'd been the mainstay. You know, people bought tickets because the Undertaker was going to be there, you know, or et cetera, you know. So, I mean, what you think WWE going to pull out their sleeve this year?
I don't think nobody. I think that era is gone. And the only thing I can see happen is maybe Brock. But at the end of the day, it's a new era and it's time, like you said, it's going for the future right now. So I don't see anybody right now because you can't replace the Undertaker. He is on another level of like legendary status. Same company for how many years? Same gimmick. Stayed in cape. Never broke kayfabe. Never did any shoot interviews. Like, come on, like it's him. You can't replace him.
Okay. Hey, I'm with it, man. Just to go back to what you were saying, you said you were going to go back and check out the Lashley and McIntyre matchup from TNA. I told myself I came across it like 1,000 times. I told myself I don't want to watch it. So it was always sort of rumored that they were going to go one-on-one at WrestleMania. So I just want to see it just one and done. So I don't want to kind of like, that's what they did in Impact, or that's what. So I want to see it fresh off. So
I get you on that.
Yeah. But we're gonna move on with you guys, man, here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. This past week, man, AEW tore the house down in the main event, tore the house down in general, man. Before we get to the trending matchup that was the main event at AEW, what's your thoughts on the Pinnacle trying to take over on the Inner Circle now?
I'm for it. I'm not mad at it. I just think I wish there wasn't so many people in the Pinnacle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cut it down a little bit and get it down to like 4 people, but it's a little bit too much for me. But I like it. I like the direction they're going for. A real quality heel stable. You got MJF, you got Shawn Spears doing something right now. You got Wardlow, you got FTR, you got Tully. It's real heel-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Inner Circle going down, maybe becoming that face stable. I'm for it. I'm all for it. I'm not mad at anything that's going on with that. And it looks solid.
Okay. Do you think MJF need to be in a stable?
No, but he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need it, but he can do it.
Okay. What's your thoughts on AEW right now? Because they got a new show with the Big Show as a commentary with Tony Schiavone now, and of course AEW Dark. I really kind of fell off for AEW Dark because my problem with it was that it was just too many matches for an hour and a half or whatnot, like 13, 15 matches, and no story been really told besides the Peter Avalon story where they were like undefeated or whatnot. So, and a couple of guys who I had on the podcast, who were on AEW Dark. But yeah, what's your thoughts on it as a whole? And do they need more shows?
So, okay, AEW honestly is good for the business. It has its major flaws and it has its good points too. I think it has more flaws than good points, but it's something that's needed for the business because we can't only have one product. We need choices. And I talked about it on my podcast as well. It's giving independent wrestlers some TV time. It's giving independent wrestlers some exposure. It's putting money in some of their pockets. It's good for their business. Is there some things that I don't like? Of course. Some things I love? Yeah. I don't hate it. But it's something that's really good for the business as a whole. Competition breeds greatness.
Yeah.
And what's going on right now is that they're, trying to build something from the ground up. Something that nobody has done in how many years. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. They don't need no more shows. But I would like, if they do continue with that AEW Dark Elevation, they start injecting storylines. Make me want to watch besides for matches. Like you said, make me want to watch, and then putting some people who aren't getting shine on Dynamite, put them on that show, have them working angles and everything. It doesn't even have to be huge angles, just small little angles of that nature, because they need to move, they need to grow and stop depending on their hardcore fans, which is a great amount of hardcore fans, but they need to grow it. That's my take on them. Okay.
Yeah. I agree because I was just like AEW Dark, man. I don't know. You talk about competition and that's what wrestling needs. Were you a big WCW fan?
Yes and no. I fucked with it. The only reason why I watched it was because of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Okay. I'll keep it a buck with you. That's the only reason why I watched it. And then end up switching over like most people because of The Rock.
hey, I really wasn't a big WCW fan. I saw just a clip of it. I knew Goldberg and just the regular old ones though. Real quick, man. The women's lights out match. I haven't seen a match with women like that. I don't think ever. Britt Baker, she was bleeding. She went through a table. Thunder Rosa, she won the match up. What was your thoughts on it?
Good match. Hard hitting, bloody. I loved it. But my whole thing is what's next for them. You can't keep on having these matches. You got to have some regular good matches. Did that make a statement for AEW's women's division? Yes, indeed. Did it create the buzz? Fucking yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what's next? Now you guys got it. Now you guys got something. Now let's build off of it and don't use gimmick matches. We're gonna need some regular hard hitting great matches so people can get invested in. shout outs to him, shout outs to Tony and AEW's team for giving those women the main event slot, for giving them time to do it. Yeah. So I'm all for it, but you got to build off of that now. If that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. It makes sense. It really does, man. Yo, man, Sir Wilkins, man, I appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, man. I'm not going to hold you too long, but it was a dope time chatting with you. But before you go, I got your thoughts on the new Apollo cruise.
I like it. I didn't think it. Okay, so I know why you asked. You love asking these great questions. So a lot of people had issues with it because they thought it was racist. They thought it was stereotypical, blah, 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 blah. We're at a different time where wrestlers do have a say in what they do. Mm-hmm. And Apollo had this gimmick before in the Wuha Nation when he was on the independent scene. So it's very similar to what he's doing now. Another thing, the dude is actually Nigerian.
Yeah.
His parents are Nigerian immigrants. So he can do it. People mad, oh, he has the accent. Bro, I have an accent. It's not as high, it's not like as strong, but it's there. And both my parents are Haitian, so I can talk with an accent. The spear, I don't know too much about the Nigerian culture, but I've been hearing that it's part of their culture. So the spear is fine. I'm all for it because you're evolving your character. He came in, smiley guy, high-flying guy, boom, 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 but there was no depth. Mm-hmm. There was nothing to it. Now we're adding layers to him as a wrestler besides just being a wrestler. Why isn't Ricochet over? Because there's no depth to Ricochet.
That's a good one. I haven't seen Ricochet do anything exciting lately, man. that's really a good one, man. Last one. Do you think Daniel Bryan and Edge gonna be a nice matchup on SmackDown?
Of course. You're talking about DB. Mm-hmm. DB is smooth. DB is great in that ring. He's one of those people where he could find a paper bag and make it a fire match.
Yeah.
Which is what I spoke about ring IQ earlier when it came to that botcha I told you about. You can make somebody else look good. It's a dance.
You're right about that, man. Daniel Bryan, he's been showing his passion for the last couple of weeks, man. Especially been sitting on the floor when Edge point up to the WrestleMania sign. So Daniel Bryan trying to pull it out. Now I'm hearing this may be his little last run. So, it kind of sounds, right, putting him in the main event with Edge, though. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be very exciting, man. It's going to be very exciting. But yo, man, Sir Wilkins, man, once again, appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Before you go, man, any shout outs, any questions you'd like to ask me, anything you'd like to say?
Nah, just once again, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on this podcast. I appreciate you. Anybody that's listening, my name is Sir Wilkins of the Job It's His podcast. You can find me on all forms of social media, SIR_Wilkins, WILKINS. And you can also find the Jobber Tears on all forms of social media, JOBBERTEARS podcast. So yeah, man, thank you so much for having me on, man.
No problem, man. Anytime. This was an honor, man, to chat with you. I love your pictures of the New Day and everything, man. So keep doing your thing, man. It's always cool to chat with like-minded people, man, that podcast and also that love wrestling. So keep doing your thing. Stay working at the training. Stay safe, man. And thank you for joining me this week on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling.
Appreciate you, brother. Peace.
Yo, Sir Wilkins, man, appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling this week, man. It was a dope time chatting with you, man. For real, I had to get you on the podcast. Of course, we had scheduled conflict at the first time, the first attempt, but I got you on, man, and it's awesome time sitting back chatting pro wrestling, man. You're a big fan of The Rock, just like I am, man. If you smell, I ain't gonna do all that, though, but yeah, man, it was a dope time chatting with you. Man, keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing. If you're wrestling, man, you're passionate at it, man. I love wrestling, so keep doing everything. And the whole Job It Is network from Talk of Champions, Stan Michaels, all the guys, man, from Stephanie Hardy, everybody, man. Shout out to the whole Jobber Network. My man Shane Taylor, he was on a podcast, you guys. Big Baby, if you heard the episode from the Your Sports show, Big Baby, if you heard him on here, he was on the Jobber Network. Man, go check him out. They doing over 120,000 streams, man. Check them out for real, man. But yo, Sir Wilkins, appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling this week. But you guys, man, before I go, you guys don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Dre on the Wheels. Follow me on Instagram at the 1130 podcast. Like the 1130 podcast on Facebook. Subscribe to the 1130 podcast on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. In the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Available each and every Friday. Yes, Friday, man. So follow me on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. And subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and a review, man. I appreciate it so much, man. It'll really, really help. And also, if you would like to be a guest here on the podcast, email. That's the 1130podcast at gmail.com. The 1130 podcast at gmail.com. Or hit me up on social media. You know how we get down, man. For real. Awesome show. And man, we on the road to WrestleMania, man. We got a NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver coming up, man. We got that whole week is going to be crazy. The Hall of Fame, we got Ivory going into the Hall of Fame, Eric Bischoff going into the Hall of Fame, man. It's going bananas, man. It's really going bananas. The whole WWE Peacock thing. So we about to see where it goes, man, in the next coming weeks. So yo, it's been a great episode. Hope everybody out there stay safe, enjoy wrestling, enjoy SmackDown tonight. And yo, I'll see you guys next week. This is your man Drake, aka Drake on Wheels.